Good morning students. In the previous video lecture, we have discussed about what is a microcontroller, what is the need for microcontroller, what's the basic difference that exists between a microprocessor and microcontroller. Now also we have discussed how we can classify the microcontroller based upon its data handling capability and based upon the architecture as well as the memory. So in our today's video lecture, let us have a detailed discussion of 8051 microcontroller and the 8051 microcontroller's pin diagram. Let us start with the introduction and basics of 8051. The 8051 microcontroller is one of the most popular and most commonly used microcontroller in various fields like embedded system, consumer electronics, automobiles, etc. The 8051 microcontroller series was developed by Intel in the year 1980 and were very popular in 80s and still it is popular. 8051 microcontroller has many features like serial communication, timers, interrupts, etc. And hence, many students and beginners start their work on the concept of microcontrollers with 8051 microcontroller. Even though 8051 microcontroller might seem a little bit out of fashion, we will feel that it is one of the best platform to get started with microcontrollers, embedded system and programming. So in this post, we will be given an introduction to 8051 microcontroller and some of the basics of 8051 microcontroller. The 8051 microcontroller introduction gives a brief overview about the 8051 microcontroller and its history. The Intel 8051 microcontroller was a successor to 8048 microcontroller. Originally, 8051 microcontroller were developed using NMOS technology, but the use of battery powered devices and their low power consumption lead to usage of CMOS technology. Even though Intel developed 8051 microcontroller, more than 20 semiconductor manufacturers are still producing 8051 compatible microcontrollers. That is, processor based on 51 architecture. Some of the 8051 microcontroller produced by different manufacturers are Atmel, Philips, STC Micro, Siemens, Silicon Labs, etc. Majority of the modern 8051 microcontrollers are Silicon IP core, but discrete 8051 microcontroller ICs are also available. Because of their low power consumption, smaller size and simple architecture, 8051 are used in FPGAs and system on chip instead of advanced ARM architecture based microcontroller units. Even with the development of many advanced and superior microcontrollers, 8051 microcontroller is still being used in many embedded systems and applications. Some of the applications of 8051 microcontroller are mentioned here. Consumer applications like TV tuner, remote control, computer, sewing machines, etc. When we come to home appliances, the 8051 is used in TV, VCR, video games, camcorder, music instruments, home security system, garage door opener, etc. In communication systems, mobile phones, intercoms, answering machines, paging devices, etc. uses the 8051. When we talk about Office, the application of 8051 as in fax machine, printers, copiers, laser printers, etc. In the automobiles, airbags, engine controls, transmission controls, temperature controls, keyless entry, all those are being using the 8051 microcontroller. Apart from this, the 8051 microcontroller are also used in aeronautic and space, medical equipments, defense systems, robotics, industrial process and flow control, radio and networking equipments, and also in remote sensing. 8051 microcontroller is a 8-bit microcontroller, that is, the data bus of 8051 microcontroller both internally and externally is 8-bit wide. It is a CISC complex instruction set based microcontroller with hardware architecture, that is, it has separate program and data memory. Since the basic layout of microcontroller includes a CPU, ROM, RAM, etc., the 8051 microcontroller also has a similar layout. The following image shows a brief layout of a typical 8051 microcontroller. Let us discuss about the 8051 microcontroller features. We will be discussing about these features in detail in the next video session. The 8051 microcontroller has an 8-bit ALU. The 8-bit ALU arithmetic logic unit is the heart of microcontroller. It performs arithmetic and bitwise operation on binary numbers. Since it performs bitwise operation on binary numbers, the 8051 microcontroller is also called as a Boolean processor. The ALU in 8051 is a 8-bit ALU, that is, it can perform operation on 8-bit of data at a time. It also consists of a 8-bit accumulator. This accumulator is an important register associated with ALU. The accumulator in 8051 is a 8-bit register. When we talk about memory, the 8051 microcontroller has internal RAM and ROM. The RAM is of 128 bytes and the ROM is of 4 kilobytes. We can discuss about this memory unit separately in a video session. It consists of I/O ports and as well as timers and serial ports. The I/O ports of 8051 has 4 8-bit input-output ports which are bit addressable and bidirectional. Some of the features like size of RAM, ROM, number of timers are not generic. They may vary depending upon the manufacturer. 8051 microcontroller is available in variety of IC packaging types. The most popular and commonly used 8051 microcontroller package is dual inline or DIP. It is often available as 40-pin dual inline package or plastic dual inline package IC. The other common packaging type is 44 lead plastic leaded chip carrier. It is a kind of surface mount package. Another surface mount package for 8051 microcontroller is 44 lead thin quad flat package. So far we have seen the basics of 8051 microcontroller, like its history, features, packaging and few applications. Now we will continue further by looking at 8051 microcontrollers pin diagram and 8051 microcontroller pin description, along with some other details like the basic circuitry of 8051 microcontroller. We will first see the 8051 microcontroller pin diagram and pin description, as it will be easier to understand the architecture later. Pin diagram or pin out of a device will specify the pins of an electrical connector along with its functions. Let us now discuss in detail about each and every pins of 8051 microcontroller. Let us start with pin number 1 to pin number 8. Pin number 1 to pin number 8 are assigned to port 1 for simple input-output operations. They can be configured as input or output pins depending on the logical control. That is, if logic 0 is applied to IO port, it will act as an output pin, and if logic 1 is applied, the pin will act as an input pin. These pins are also referred to as P1.0 to P1.7, where P1 indicates that it is a pin in port 1 and the number after dot tells the pin number, that is 0 indicates first pin of the port. So P1.0 means first pin of port 1, P1.1 means second pin of port 1, and so on. These pins are bidirectional pins. Next, pin number 9, reset pin. It is an active high input pin. Therefore, if the reset pin is high for a minimum of 2 machine cycles, the microcontroller will reset. That is, it will close and terminate all activities. It is often referred as power on reset pin because it is used to reset the microcontroller to its initial values when power is on. Pin number 10 to pin number 17. Pin number 10 to pin number 17 are port 3 pins, which are also referred to as P3.0 to P3.7. These pins are similar to port 1 and can be used as universal input or output pins. These pins are bidirectional pins. These pins also have some additional functions which are as follows. Pin 3.0. 10th pin is the pin 3.0 and it is serial data receive pin, which is for serial input. Through this input signal, microcontroller receives data for serial communication. Pin 3.1, 11th pin of 8051 microcontroller is a serial data transmit pin, which is a serial output pin. Through this output signal, microcontroller transmit data for serial communication. Pin 3.2 and pin 3.3, 12th and 13th pins of 8051 microcontroller or external hardware interrupt 0 and external hardware interrupt 1 respectively. When this interrupt is activated, that is when it is low, 8051 gets interrupted in whatever it is doing and jumps to the vector value of the interrupt. Its vector value starts from 0003H for INT0 and 0013H for INT1 and start performing interrupt service routine for the vector location. P3.4 and P3.5, 14th and 15th pin of 8051 microcontroller are for timer 0 and timer 1 external inputs. They can be connected with 16-bit timer counter. Pin 3.6, 16th pin of 8051 microcontroller is for external memory write, that is writing data to the external memory. Pin 3.7, 17th pin of 8051 microcontroller is for external memory read, that is reading data from external memory. Pin number 18 and 19, these pins are connected to an external oscillator, which is generally a quartz crystal oscillator. They are used to provide an external clock frequency of 4 MHz to 30 MHz. Pin number 20. This pin is connected to the ground. It has to be provided with 0-volt power supply. Hence, it is connected to the negative terminal of the power supply. Pin 21 to pin 28 are port 2 pins, also referred to as P2.0 to P2.7. When additional external memory is interfaced with the 8051 microcontroller, pins of port 2 act as higher order address bytes. These pins are bidirectional. Pin 29. Pin 29 stands for Program Strobe Enable, PSEN, Program Strobe Enable. It is output active low pin. This is used to read external memory. In 8031 based system where external ROM hold the program code, this pin is connected to the OE pin of the ROM. Pin 30. ALE stands for Address Latch Enable. It is an input, active high input pin. This pin is used to distinguish between memory chips when multiple memory chips are used. It is also used to demultiplex the multiplexed address and data signals available at port 0. Pin 31. Pin 31 EA stands for External Access Input. It is used to enable or disable external memory interfacing. In 8051, EA is connected to VCC as it comes with on-chip ROM to store programs. For other family members such as 8031 and 8032 in which there is no on-chip ROM, the enable EA pin is connected to the ground. Pin 32 to pin 39. Pin 32 to pin 39 or port 0 pins, also referred to as P0.0 to P0.7. They are bidirectional input-output pins. They do not have any internal pull-ups. Hence, a 10 kilo ohms pull-up resistor are used as external pull-ups. Port 0 is also designed as address bar data multiplexed lower order bus, that is AD0 to AD7, because 8051 multiplexes address and data through port 0 to save pins. Pin 40. This pin provides power supply voltage, that is 5 volts is connected to the pin number 40. Now that we have seen the 8051 microcontroller pin diagram and corresponding pin descriptions, we will proceed the basic circuit or schematic of 8051 microcontroller. The following image shows the basic circuit of the 8051 microcontroller. This basic circuit of 8051 microcontroller is the minimal interface required for it to work. The basic circuit includes a reset circuit, the oscillator circuit, and the power supply. Let us discuss a little bit deeper about this basic circuits of 8051 microcontroller. First is the power supply. Pin number 40 and 20, that is VCC and ground of 8051 microcontroller are connected to positive 5 volts and ground respectively. Next is the reset circuit, a logical high positive 5 volts on reset pin for a minimum of 2 machine cycles, that is 24 clock cycles, will reset the 8051 microcontroller. The reset circuit of 8051 microcontroller consists of a capacitor, a resistor, and a push button, and this type of reset circuit provides a manual reset option. If you remove the push button, then the reset circuit becomes a power on reset circuit. The next part of the basic circuit of 8051 microcontroller is the oscillator circuit or the clock circuit. A quartz crystal oscillator is connected across XTAL1 and XTAL2 pins, that is pin number 19 and 18. The capacitor C1 and C2 can be selected in the range of 20 picofarad to 40 picofarad. As mentioned in the 8051 microcontroller pin description, port 1, port 2 and port 3 all have internal pull-ups and hence can be directly used as bidirectional input-output ports. But we need to add external pull-ups for port 0 pin in order to use it as an IO port. Generally, a 1 kilo ohm resistance pack of 8 resistors is used as a pull-up for port 0 of 8051 microcontroller. So in this video, we have seen about the 8051 microcontroller pin diagram, pin description, and the basic circuit of 8051 microcontroller. In the next video, we will continue with the architecture and few other features of 8051 microcontroller. Thank you. Thank you students. Meet you all in the next video lecture on 8051 architecture.